Hello, welcome to QUT News.
Hello.
Hundreds of farmers picketed State Parliament today over proposed new land clearing laws. The farmers say the laws are unfair and will ruin their livelihoods. But green groups are applauding the changes.
Farmers are up in arms about proposed changes to vegetation management laws, saying they'll only hurt farmers and the people they feed.
Yeah, it means a livelihood. We're fifth generation farmers.
We don't get a voice down here, although we're getting a voice today.
They'd travelled from all over the state, decked out in green, to make their angry political statement.
All over Queensland, people are wearing green shirts as we reclaim the environmental middle ground as the best custodians of our lands.
Hundreds of farmers rallied out front of Parliament House today, protesting deforestation laws and claiming that they are the true environmentalists.
Environmentalists, you can believe it!
Conservation groups aren't buying it.
We need strong laws that protect the 45 million native animals that are being killed every single year. We need strong laws so that Queensland can get itself off the list of top 10 deforestation hotspots.
The farmers handed a petition signed by 17,500 people to opposition leader Deb Frecklington, who took the argument onto the parliamentary floor.
My question is, will the Premier show some common decency and go out and listen to those Queenslanders' concerns?
And Mr Speaker, not only do I listen to the farmers, I went to the pub and had drinks with them, Mr Speaker.
The laws are set to be debated in Parliament all week. Jamanua, QUT News.
Cardinal George Pell will stand trial on historical sex charges. Australia's most senior Catholic and Vatican treasurer formally pleaded not guilty.
Cardinal Pell arrived at Melbourne Magistrates Court to predictably chaotic scenes. There was heavy police presence as he navigated protesters and supporters. Magistrate Belinda Wallington found there was sufficient evidence for Pell to be committed for trial on multiple charges involving multiple complainants. The most serious allegations, however, were thrown out. The only reaction from the church so far has been from the Archbishop of Melbourne, who expressed his confidence in the judicial system in Australia and that justice must now take its course. 76-year-old Pell was in court to hear the decision. Cardinal Pell, the most senior Catholic to be charged with sex offences and the Church's third most senior official, said in a loud, clear voice, "Not guilty." The Cardinal has consistently denied any wrongdoing, but today was the first time he was required to enter a formal plea. A trial is not expected to start for months. Madeline, Escobar, QUT News.
He was called a lion of Queensland politics, an economic leader and a tough politician with a heart of gold. Terry McEnroth died yesterday after a short battle with cancer. He'll be honoured with a state funeral.
He was dubbed the Fox for his political nous, but today the Premier remembered a different side of Terry McEnroth.
Terry was a decent, honourable, he was very witty, intelligent and humble.
McEnroth served 28 years as the member for Chatsworth, rising to be Treasurer and Deputy Premier. He continued his public service after retirement, working with the Cyclone Larry Recovery Task Force and as chair of the Queensland Floods Appeal in 2013.
And as his wife Mary has commented, it is telling that in these few hours the tributes have flowed from all sides of politics, and I thank everyone for that.
McEnroth had already beat lung cancer once. Then, 2 weeks ago, doctors confirmed a tumour had returned while treating him for pneumonia. This time, it was a battle he just couldn't win. Terry McEnroth was 68. Tom Copley, QUT News.
Queensland's top cop is used to advising his force about all things policing, but today he had a different message. Commissioner Ian Stewart wants all the boys in blue to get their prostate checked.
It's a simple but uncomfortable test, but it could save your life. That's the message from Queensland's Police Commissioner to his force.
It might seem strange in one way that we're talking about prostate cancer in the Queensland Police, but anything that we can do to make the lives of our members and their loved ones better actually is a bonus, not just for them, but for the wider community.
The unusual campaign is hitting the road tomorrow. A police four-wheel drive will tow a dunny around the state, offering information seminars for all Queensland Police employees, their families and other emergency personnel. It's hoped the dunny will spark a conversation.
In my particular case, I shared a conversation with a work colleague in 2016 and who prompted me to go and get screened for prostate cancer, which I did. And to my horror, I was later diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Prostate cancer is often associated with old age, but men in their 30s and 40s are still very much at risk. As many as 17,000 new cases are diagnosed each year. With signs often going unnoticed, men now more than ever are being encouraged to go see their doctor. The Prostate Cancer Foundation recommends every male over the age of 40 should get checked. Anna Ayres, QUT News.
More Queenslanders than ever before aren't gambling at all. A new survey reveals that last year, around 30% of Queenslanders had not bought lottery tickets, placed a bet, or used electronic gaming machines. That's a jump from 26.2% 5 years ago. The percentage of problem gamblers in Queensland remains stable at just over 0.5%, the second lowest rate in the country. But the rise of online gambling is a concern, with mobile platforms much more popular with men than women. Treasurer Scott Morrison expects more Commonwealth Bank executives to go after a damning report by the banking regulator, APRA. The report called the CBA board ineffective and complacent.
The investigation into Australia's biggest bank follows last year's embarrassing money laundering scandal. The Regulation Authority report didn't mince words, and Treasurer Morrison pounced.
It found there was a complacent culture, dismissive of regulators, an ineffective board that lacked zeal.
Today, the Commonwealth Bank accepted APRA's 35 recommendations, including that senior leadership was slow to recognise or address threats to CBA's reputation, the bank was desensitised to failings with customers, and CBA has fallen from grace. It is now a waiting game to see who else from the board will step down.
Executives are gone. Board members are gone. More will go.
Next week, it will be the Treasurer under scrutiny as he delivers this year's budget. Personal income tax cuts have economists already criticising Mr Morrison, saying it's a ploy to win votes. Anna McGraw, QUT News.
A Gold Coast man is in critical condition after colliding with a car while riding a motorised skateboard. The 33-year-old suffered serious head injuries and remains in hospital. The driver of the vehicle is in a stable condition. Police say it highlights the need to take extra care at night.
This skateboard rider appears to have been wearing dark clothing and here at night without any form of lights or anything, so that's obviously a factor that we'd warn the public against.
The Forensic Crash Unit is investigating. Brisbane City Council is ramping up Road Safety Week with a renewed focus on school drop-off zones. It's hoped the campaign for safer streets around our city's schools will also help ease congestion.
School zones often grind the gears of parents, with many frustrated when others ignore the 2-minute drop and go rules.
You know, it's hard to park, and especially around the school, it's all pay meters.
Parents driven to risky manoeuvres and illegal parking are placing kids in danger.
So we want to make sure that everybody around our schools is driving safely, and we are asking them not to park illegally, not to park dangerously, but be careful of the precious cargo that we have.
The Lord Mayor is throwing his weight behind school road safety, pledging over $1.5 million this year to upgrading school zones, crossings and parking. And now with over 100 schools adopting new traffic management plans, there has never been a better time for parents to stop, drop and go.
It's making sure that motorists understand that this is a load speed environment during the school morning and afternoon peak periods.
Even principals are urging parents to play by the rules.
Our parents need to make sure that it's not just their child's safety that we're concerned with. We have all the students who use this zone.
After all, it's one of the busiest but most important jobs of the day, dropping and picking up children from school safely. Bridget Vanderwolf, QUT News.
Recapping our main story, angry farmers picket State Parliament saying their livelihood is being ruined by new land clearing laws.
And ahead, the runner who's an oldie but still a goodie. A twin bomb attack in Kabul has left 26 dead, including 10 journalists and 1 photographer. It's the world's deadliest single attack on journalists since the Philippines massacre in 2009.
It's been the deadliest day for Afghan media in 17 years. Police say the first attacker was on a motorbike, the second was on foot, and meant to target those rushing to the scene. Numerous reports say the bombers deliberately intended to attack media, as one bomber presented a press card before standing in the group of journalists and blowing himself up. 8 reporters were among the journalists caught in the second explosion as they were reporting on the initial blast. Among those killed is AFP News Agency's chief photographer in Kabul, Shah Marai. AFP paid tribute to Mr. Marai, who had 6 children, including a newborn. 4 police were among those killed. Islamic State group has claimed responsibility for the bombings. In a separate attack, the BBC says reporter Ahmad Shah was killed in the East Afghan province of Khost. Anna McGraw, QUT News.
Britain has a new Home Secretary, Sajid Javid, after his predecessor resigned amid an immigration scandal. Mr. Javid replaces Amber Rudd.
Mr. Javid has been critical of his party's hardline immigration stance in the past. The new Home Secretary is a supporter of Caribbean migrants who've been targeted by the Home Office.
The most urgent task I have is to help those British citizens that came from the Caribbean, the so-called Windrush generation, and make sure that they are all treated with the decency and the fairness that they deserve.
Mr. Javid's the first minority politician to hold one of Britain's 4 top government jobs. His parents emigrated to Britain in the 1960s.
They came from Pakistan to help build this country. I think for them to see one of their sons to rise to this great office of state, I'm sure they'll be very proud.
Amber Rudd resigned on Sunday after she denied the Home Office set targets for deportations. Prime Minister Theresa May introduced net migration targets during her stint as Home Secretary. She apologised for the treatment of Windrush citizens.
We have seen the Windrush generation being caught up in a way that has caused anxiety among that generation.
The Prime Minister has reaffirmed her opposition to undocumented migration. She says she's responding to the need for citizens to see their government deal with the issue. Max Eagles, QUT News.
Iran lied. That's the claim from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He's revealed new intelligence, which he says proves Iran covered up a nuclear weapons program.
In trademark Netanyahu fashion, the Israeli Prime Minister presented what he called evidence of Iran's deception in a Tel Aviv conference yesterday.
Iran lied. Big time. After signing the nuclear deal in 2015, Iran intensified its efforts to hide its secret nuclear file.
More than 100,000 secret documents were recovered in what Netanyahu says is a great intelligence achievement. The discovery increases pressure on US President Donald Trump to pull out of the Iranian nuclear weapons deal.
The Iran deal, the nuclear deal, is based on lies. It's based on Iranian lies and Iranian deception.
Iran dismissed the accusations as propaganda. Toby Rowan, QUT News.
More than 200 people from a caravan of migrants fleeing Central America remain camped at the US border. The group has been denied passage into San Diego.
Hundreds of men, women and children, exhausted after trekking more than 3,000 kilometres over the past few weeks, huddle under blankets. The migrants, many of whom are fleeing El Salvador, Guatemala and Honduras, want asylum in the US. They're trying to enter at Tijuana, but have been told the facility is full. Earlier this month, US President Donald Trump directed immigration officials to be zealous in denying illegal entrance. Late on Sunday, 50 of the caravan's most vulnerable members, including women, children, and transgender people, were allowed access to the walkway. But they, along with the remaining members, were advised that they must demonstrate a well-founded fear of persecution at home in order to be granted entry.
We are coming from our countries not because we want to, but because the situation is very bad in our countries.
Death threats from local gangs, political persecution, and the rape and murder of family members were among the triggers for the migrants' claims. Lawyers warn if their cases aren't strong enough, migrants risk detention, deportation, or long periods of separation from their families. Alice Sinclair, QUT News.
Thousands have marched through Moscow protesting the Russian government's ban on popular instant messaging app Telegram. They flew paper planes, similar to the app's logo, to voice their frustration. Russian President Vladimir Putin blocked the app for disobeying a court order. The app's creators refused to grant access to its users' encrypted messages, which Russia says prevents it guarding against possible militant attacks.
Australia's largest pet food company is to compensate dog owners whose pets died or got sick after eating a high-end dry dog food. Advanced dermacare caused a rare condition where the animal's throat became enlarged and the dogs couldn't swallow or eat. The company, Mars Pet Care, will reimburse all vet fees as well as pay for new dogs to replace those euthanised. The dog food has been voluntarily recalled.
Age really is just a number for 102-year-old Ida Keeling. Weighing 37 kilos and standing at 1.37 meters, the New Yorker is a world record-setting runner.
Ida set her first world record at 95, a 60-metre sprint for her age group. She became the first woman to run 100 metres at 100 years old and has released a book, Can't Nothing Bring Me Down. It shares the story of how Ida took up the sport to help cope with the grief of losing two sons who were tragically killed.
Lean down, good. Touch your toe, head down. Good.
With the support of her daughter, Cheryl, Ida stays active and encourages others to do the same.
My secret is in my head. Get up and get around. Don't sit around doing nothing. Get up and do something.
The world record holder started running at 67 and is happy to share her training regime.
Up in the air with the feet and out the bed. And then I sit on the side of the bed and throw some punches, and I do some squats and all like that because my knees get stiff. And if you're stiff here, so you got to straighten out both of them. And then I do a couple of little uppercuts here and there and all that kind of stuff.
She credits her well-being to staying active.
I have to get ready. I get up on my toes and down. Otherwise, I'll be a mess.
Ida plans to continue competing. Her next race is in August. Madeline, Escobar, QUT News.
In local sport, star Geelong player Gary Ablett Jr. is expected to return from a hamstring injury this week, but he's no certainty to play this Friday.
Cats doctors gave Ablett the all-clear to train, but say he may not line up against the Giants. The Sydney Swans have injury woes too. Franklin with a bruised heel, and Hannonbury with a groin tear.
So, missed last week, this week, and we'll see what he's like this time next week.
While Melbourne player Christian Petrarca needs surgery on an infected dog bite. In NRL, Manly has recalled former half Jackson Hastings for Sunday's match against the Roosters after dropping him from the lineup 3 weeks ago.
Well, circumstances change. 3 weeks ago we didn't have 7 players on our long-term injury list either.
The Sea Eagles have now weathered 4 straight defeats. Sydney FC midfielder Adrian Murziewski has taken home the Johnny Warren Medal at the A-League's awards night. He polled 37 points from 24 games in his first A-League season, 11 points clear of second place.
Thank you for coaching staff, medical staff, all people from Sydney FC, and of course my teammates, because without them it's impossible to be here.
Matilda's captain Claire Polkinghorne tied with teammate Sam Kerr for the Julie Dolan medal after both women received 17 votes. Toby Rowan, QUT News.
Naveen Razik has all the weather details next.
And hundreds of Brisbaneites go to church, but not for the reason you'd expect.
Hello, it's time to take a look at the weather. Well, meteorologists are calling it early. Queensland is set to shiver through its coldest winter on record. And the cold snap is already on the way in some parts of the state, with 8 degrees recorded in several locations across the Darling Downs. In the southeast today, it was 25 degrees in Brisbane, with the other major centres also reaching the mid-20s. And expect cloudy conditions around the nation tomorrow. 14 to 24 the range for Sydney, 22 degrees and overcast in Melbourne. Cloudy again in Adelaide and Perth, and a top of 34 up in Darwin. Coming back to Queensland now, it should be warm and partly cloudy over the coastal centres from Cairns right down to Bundaberg. Cloudy and 30 in Longreach, but clear skies and 31 degrees for Mount Isa. If you're heading out on the bay tomorrow, expect 10 to 15 knots south to south easterlies and seas to around 1 metre. Sunrise is at 13 minutes past 6. Possible showers for the Golden Sunshine Coast tomorrow. You can expect tops of 25 degrees. And the outlook for Brisbane over the next 3 days. It'll be partly cloudy and 25 for Wednesday. Possible showers predicted to arrive on Thursday, but the sun should return on Friday. That's the weather for now. Back to you, Ashlee.
Thanks, Naveen. St John's Cathedral has played host to the annual Loaves and Fishes charity lunch. 600 guests sat down to dine, raising money for disadvantaged children.
The feast took place under the soaring ceilings at St John's Cathedral, a unique dining experience for most generous members of Brisbane's business community. More than 600 fillets of fish and over 200 kilograms of chips plated up for hungry guests who in exchange dug deep for a great cause.
I think it's wonderful that the Anglican Church facilitates, awarding of a charity, a different one every year.
Brings a lot of people together to enjoy a meal, to learn about a particular charity or act or organisation that's doing good in the community.
Guest speakers, former Wallaby Tim Horan and Chief Justice of Australia Susan Kiepel, are both well known for their social justice ventures. With $30,000 already raised, from ticket sales, donations big or small are greatly received. Today's lunch will help raise money for Aunties and Uncles Queensland, a charity which has helped over 600 disadvantaged children get a better start to life.
I want aunties and uncles to be around for a really long time. So these sorts of events are really great in ensuring our long-term sustainability and being able to help those children who really need our program.
It's a long lunch that goes an even longer way to helping those in need. Lee McGillivray, QUT News.
That brings you up to date with QUT News. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.